Do you see any instances of outside external accountants, bookkeepers doing the embezzlement or the fraud? And what does that look like? Because I'm sure there's people that they're not big enough to have an accountant internally or a bookkeeper even, and they just outsource it. How worried should they be?
Yeah. So if you're going to outsource those steps, in my opinion, your external bookkeeper, your outsourced accountant, they need access to your bank account only to see reporting, only to see. They cannot make transfers. They can't pay ACH. They can't make wires. They do not need to be able to move any money within your account. They don't need to be making deposits for you. They need to only be telling you what came in and what went out and putting it in the right category so that you have financials by the 20th of every month. Like, that's all they should be touching.
Yeah, but I'm even thinking about like the payroll aspect. Like, I know a lot of people outsource payroll. So I don't know.
Outsourcing payroll, I personally recommend that you outsource to a payroll provider. And I don't know, if you have accountants listen to this, they might be mad. I do not recommend outsourcing payroll to an accounting firm. Outsource it to a payroll provider. They usually have the technology, like Paycom, Paychex, Gusto. They've got the technology where a lot of this is happening automatically rather than someone actually filling out a 941 or a 940. And so I feel like for accounting firms that aren't set up that way, they're doing these things more manually. And I just think that that's more room for error. Instead, outsource that to a payroll provider. A weird case that I was called on a while back, I didn't get to work it, unfortunately. We were just too busy. But this company exploded after 2020. They were in the real estate business, just exploded. And so they didn't know. I mean, they went from decent. They kind of handled their stuff between them. It was husband and wife, Pandemic happens, real estate blows up. They're making tons of money, hiring tons of people, all this stuff. So they're like, oh, we just need to outsource this. So they outsource everything, including some access to the bank accounts, to an accountant, a CPA, licensed CPA. And it doesn't matter if somebody's licensed. It doesn't matter. People do what they want. It doesn't matter. You hope that that's a little bit of a deterrent, that they're like, I don't want to lose this license I worked so hard for. But in a pinch, they're still going to decide, what benefits them. So they outsourced this to their accountant, and he was doing tax returns, payroll tax returns, bookkeeping, all this stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, he was not providing financial statements, and they kept asking him, where are my financials? Oh, I'm just behind. I'm a one-person shop, all this stuff. Well, where are our tax returns? Oh, yeah, well, I don't have those ready yet. And you can't you cannot prepare a tax return without financials, and you can't have financials if you're not reconciled. So, that's the order. So anyway, they hadn't been able to file tax returns, all these things. So after talking to them about this whole mess, he also was refusing to turn over certain financial records whenever they said, hey, we just need our stuff back. Let's just part ways. He also was not charging them. And they're making tons of money. And they're like, we need to pay you for your time. He's like, no, I just want to help you guys. So obviously, there's a lot of red flags. You want to trust them. A lot of times people who are in these positions are pretty good at sales, and there's a manipulative component here. So anyway, basically what we believe was happening, and we didn't get to work this for them, but we believe that he was preparing tax returns and filing them and then getting the refund himself, directing it to himself, and then he would provide them with a different tax return. So they didn't actually know what was happening, because there's no way. So there are risks there, which is why just those red flags are really important. This is going to sound a little pessimist on my part, and I really try to be like, we can be problem solvers, we can solve this. But so this is going to sound a little pessimistic for me, but I don't believe that you can prevent 100% of fraud. I just think that if you're looking, you'll detect it earlier. Most of the schemes that we end up working, the size cases we end up working, we're looking at losses that are 500, but really $1 million plus. And the reason is that this person's been employed so long, their scheme has gone on so long. So if it had been caught within the first 6 months, it might have been $20,000. But now they've been doing it over 5 years. Now we're at $3.5 million.